So these are the main challenges that the plants faced by moving to live on land, and how they evolved structures or adaptation mechanisms to deal with these challenges. As we have already mentioned, the ancestor of the land plants is believed to be green algae. So green algae, which we refer to as charophytes, these are the closest relatives to land plants. So they look like something like that. So this is a picture depicting a charophyte, and as we said, they were living in aquatic environment, and they moved to live on lands, and they have evolved to give us the land plants. So as you can see, this green algae, which is supported by the water, and they have all the resources, the water, the light, and the nutrients at one place. Once they moved to the land, they had to evolve the different structures and the transport system, and the different adaptations, like the cuticle, like the stomata, like having seeds, and later on having also pollen grains for dispersal in areas where water is not available, and all of that. So please link this picture with all the previous adaptations. It will make more sense. So why do scientists believe that the green algae were the ancestors of land plants? Because both of them, they share several characteristics. For example, both of them, they use chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, and beta carotene to collect light for photosynthesis. So both of them are photosynthetic organisms. They have the same kind of pigments, and as you know, chlorophyll and beta carotene are pigments that they absorb the energy of light, and they are really important in the process of photosynthesis. So in this figure, we are showing one of the pigments, chlorophyll A, and as you can see, each one of the pigments has certain wavelength. For example, here the peak of absorption is around 440 nanometer, and also another peak here about 670 or something nanometer. It's not important to memorize this data, but this highlights why plants possess many pigments, because they have specific wavelengths. So in order to cover the different wavelengths, it is advantage for plants to have multiple pigments. So green algae and land plants, they have nearly the same pigments which they use for photosynthesis. This is the first indication of the relatedness of the two organisms. Also, they have cell walls made up of cellulose. They have the ability to store the carbohydrates they synthesize through photosynthesis in the form of starch, and their photosynthetic membranes are stacked within organelles. So as you know, chloroplasts. So this is a picture depicting chloroplasts in plants, and this is the picture depicting chloroplasts in algae. And as you can see, there is high degree of similarity of the structure of the chloroplasts between plants and algae. Also, both organisms form new walls by similar process. So because of all these indications, scientists believe that the green algae are the ancestors of, or the closest ancestor to the land plants. However, land plants, through the process of evolution, they have evolved what we call derived traits. So they have evolved certain traits that they are unique for plants, which are not present in the green algae. So the previous slide highlights the traits that they are common, between plants and green algae, while this slide highlights the traits that they are present in plants but not in green algae. And these traits are actually 4 traits. Number 1, the alteration of generations. Number 2, having walled spores produced in sporangia. Number 3, the presence of multicellular gametangia. And number 4, the presence of apical meristems. So these 4 derived traits, they are present nearly in all land plants, and they are absent in charophytes, which is the green algae ancestor of the plants, of the land plants. So let's start with these derived features one by one. So the first concept we are going to discuss is the difference between haploid and diploid cells. So a haploid cell, which we refer to as 1N, or simply we refer to as N, meaning that it has one copy of the chromosome. So as you can see, one copy of the chromosome would be a haploid cell. If the cell has 2 copies of each chromosome, so 2 copies means 2N, that is a diploid cell. So chromosomes are present in pairs. So where do the pairs come from? The pairs come from the female chromosome and the male chromosome when they meet by fertilization. So the fusion of the male and female chromosomes, what makes the diploid cell. So if we are going to apply this on us as human, we have haploid chromosomes in the sperm of the male, of the father. Then the mother has the egg, produces the egg. The egg also contains the chromosome of the mother. It is a haploid structure. So in our case, human, we have 23 chromosomes. So the father's sperm will have 23 chromosomes. So it's a haploid. The mother egg will be a haploid egg also, because it has only 23 chromosomes. By the fertilization, the fertilized egg will have a copy of the chromosome coming from the egg and another copy of the same chromosome coming from the sperm. So now we have diploid structure, which is the fertilized egg, and we can refer to it as 2N because it's a diploid 2, because each chromosome is coming from different parent. The second concept that we are going to highlight is the difference between mitosis and meiosis. So mitosis is a process that produces cells with the same number as the parent cell. So let's look at this parent cell. It has 4 chromosomes, and by going through mitosis, we produce 2 cells. Each one of them has also 4 chromosomes. So we maintain the number of chromosomes. All what happened during the process of mitosis is the division of the cell into 2. So always think of mitosis as a process of growth and development, or like multiplication of the cells, which is needed during the growth. And this is a major difference between it and the other process, which is meiosis. So if we start with the same parent cell with 4 chromosomes and it has undergone meiosis, we end up with 4 cells. Each one of them has 2 chromosomes only. So in meiosis, we end up with cells having half the number of the starting cell. So because of that, because of the reduction of the number of the chromosomes, so meiosis results in a reduction of the number of chromosomes into half. So if we start with 2N, we will end up with N number of chromosomes. But if we started with 2N cell in mitosis, we end up with cells also with 2N. So mitosis maintains the chromosome number. All what it do, it multiplies the number of cells. Meiosis reduces the chromosome number into half, and because of that, it helps us into producing the gametes. Remember, the male and female gametes, they need to be haploid because their union will result, so their union 1N and 1N will give us the diploid cell. So meiosis is used in the process of creating gametes, while mitosis is used in the process of cell multiplication and division.